Let's start with a short meditation to center and to arrive mentally. Sit upright in a comfortable position and close your eyes. Keep your spine straight and your neck upright. Take a deep breath through the nose into your belly. Hold for a little while and breathe out through the open mouth. Put your attention on your breath. Don't concentrate or focus too hard. Don't strain. Just allow yourself to get calm and peaceful, to get out of your thoughts, to arrive mentally in the here and now. Observe emerging emotions, thoughts, pictures that come and go. Don't try to suppress anything. You are like a dispassionate observer. Just arrive in the here and now. And don't forget to smile to the outside and to your inside. At the end, put your awareness back to your body and your environment. Open very slowly your eyes. Take your time. SAUCHA, the first Niyama in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. SAUCHA means purity, cleanliness of the body and the environment, and mental purity. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 240, we can read, "Purity contributes to good health and avoidance of disease." From the commentary of Roy Eugene Davis about SAUCHA, being attentive to personal and environmental cleanliness and to the maintenance of a holistic lifestyle is recommended for physical health and well-being. Food and water should be pure, the air that is breathed should be fresh, and the body should be regularly exposed to natural light. Eating, work, sleep, recreation, metaphysical study, and all other activities should be routinely scheduled, allowing for occasional changes when necessary. Meditation should be regularly practiced to reduce stress, calm the mind, refresh the nervous system, and clarify awareness. SAUCHA, cleanliness of the body, environment, and mental purity, describes the first of the 5 constructive practices of the Niyamas in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. It is a desirable state and a holistic way of life that should be achieved and maintained, as cleanliness and purity contribute to health and the prevention of disease. In this context, a holistic lifestyle specifically means a healthy, nutritious, and easily digestible diet that is tailored to the individual body-mind constitution and also takes into account daily physical demands and health requirements. This also refers to constructive and useful work that is carried out competently, creates satisfaction, secures the necessary livelihood, and enables an adequate standard of living. Regular restful sleep, meditation, and stress management for physical and mental relaxation are also particularly important. Metaphysical studies and, if possible, visiting sacred sites or being in contact with and close to enlightened people will have an emotionally balancing and spiritually uplifting effect. Appropriate behavior, that means consciously avoiding exaggeration and making efficient use of available resources and energy, is required. Personal routines, establishing a regular daily schedule with adjustments when needed, and disciplined implementation are emphasized. Attitudes and behaviors should contribute to a balancing and cleansing effect on the body, mind, and environment, and promote a sattvic, uplifting environment. The Latin phrase mens sana in corpore sano, in a healthy body lives a healthy mind, is often quoted and also used for advertising purposes. This quote is originally attributed to the Roman satirist Juvenal and reads in full, Orandum est, ut sit mens sana in corpore sano. One should pray for a healthy mind in a healthy body. His quote is believed to date from the 1st to the 2nd century AD, and was intended as criticism and mockery of those Roman citizens who turned to the gods with their foolish prayers and intercessions, but neglected physical exercise to promote and maintain their health. If Juvenal were to observe our way of life and behavior today, almost 2000 years later, would he not come to a similar conclusion in his criticism and mockery? And isn't it a sad fact that even today many people engage in time-consuming and often completely meaningless prayers and superficial intercessions to their imagined gods, or are preoccupied with them and neglect healthy and constructive activities? Of course, these kinds of gods have changed today. They have become more modern and contemporary. These modern gods are influencers, pop stars, sport idols, politicians who are omnipresent in the media, or multi-billionaires from the tech elite. At least they have godlike status among their followers. Today their temples are the internet and social media, and access is no longer gained through a laborious purifying pilgrimage to the temple entrance, but via a smartphone or tablet with extremely user-friendly opening hours, 24/7. Prayers and intercessions are no longer spoken or sung, but chatted in social media groups with like-minded people. The daily sermon comes from a preferred influencer, while personalized advertising draws attention to special bargains, 5-star rated offers, of course. Minor health problems are identified through self-diagnosis and digital self-tests, and the online pharmacy provides quick relief. The philosopher Ludwig Feuerbach is quoted as saying, "A human is what he eats." It seems that he followed an holistic approach, similar to many scientific disciplines before and after him, that nutrition has a significant influence on physical and mental health, on well-being and the whole constitution. And in fact, at any given moment, a person's body and mind are the product of what one has eaten and consumed in the past, or rather, which components of food have been assimilated and metabolized. In biology, assimilation refers to the conversion of foreign substances into substances that are part of the body, for which energy is consumed. In a healthy human body, the natural process of cell renewal constantly ensures regeneration and new formation, as well as the replacement and elimination of dead cells. Without any human intervention or mental influence, the human body ensures cleanliness and purity of the body and mind through its constant cell renewal, thus maintaining and providing the effects of SAUCHA. It is assumed that skin, stomach, and intestinal cells, liver cells, hair cells, bone cells, and fat cells require different amounts of time for cell renewal, that fat cells take the longest, and the renewal process is faster in younger people than in older people. Moderate fasting can stimulate and promote autophagy, a process in which the body breaks down old or damaged cells. However, it should be checked in advance whether fasting is suitable for a person, as it is not suitable for everyone due to their state of health or constitution. A careful selection of foods that appeal to the senses and the mind, taste good, and are good for the body because they are fresh and nutritious, with careful preparation and sensible combination, and conscious consumption facilitate the conversion into the body's own substances, provide necessary energy quickly, promoting the development and renewal of the organism and all cells, and enabling the rapid elimination of waste products. When meals are eaten carelessly, and food is consumed without consideration or appreciation, when predominantly processed foods of poor quality are used, when the composition of the products is unbalanced, when daily stress and the emotional state determine the amount of sugar, of fat, caffeine, and the amount consumed, the more tamasic the effects on the body and mind will be, and the more energy the organism needs for processing, conversion, and excretion. We all know that in the long run, such a diet leads to a toxic mix of lethargy, fatigue, lack of motivation, dissatisfaction, obesity, and chronic diseases, don't we? You are what you have eaten, and you will be what you eat from now on. Mental nourishment, consciously or unconsciously received and absorbed through conversation, radio, television, magazines, or through digital media by seeing, reading, and listening, can be stressful and exhausting or could have an uplifting effect. A conscious decision to fast from information, especially during the preparation and consumption of meals, can have amazing effects on calming a restless mind, pacifying emerging emotions, and promoting effective metabolism and good digestion. Spending every day consciously time in nature, breathing deeply fresh air, imagining that with each inhale you are taking in prana, life force, and with each exhale you let go of old energy, can help to balance the hemispheres of the brain, improve oxygen supply, eliminate toxic substances, stimulate the organs, supports digestion, contribute to physical relaxation, and can have a liberating and uplifting effect on the mind. Conscious breathing should always be a part of your daily routine. And why not start it right away? Sit upright straight, smile, and relax. Inhale deeply through your nose into your belly. Imagine and feel that you inhale pure prana, life energy. At the end of your inhaling, hold it and count to 4. Then let the air flow out through your open mouth. As you do so, imagine with feeling sensation that you are letting go of old energy, maybe even emotional problems. At the end, hold it and count to 4. Repeat this easy exercise at least 5 times. In 2019, I participated in the Kumbh Mela, a Hindu pilgrimage festival in Allahabad, Prayagraj, in India, at the Parmat Niketan Ashram. I was really impressed how the principles of SAUCHA, purity of the body and environment, as well as mental purity were shared and exemplified in such a practical and real-life-oriented way. To keep the environment, lovingly and respectfully called Mother Earth, clean, many volunteers gathered every morning to clean the ashram and the beach on the Yamuna River of trash, waste, and remains of offerings. Every day they returned proudly with bulging trash bags, which were later transported away in large trucks. At the ashram, in front of an impressively large dining tent, were long sinks with running water and soap. Above them were screens showing short films about the family life of a young family having lunch, in which parents explained to their children why it is so important to wash their hands thoroughly before eating. One day I discovered a remarkable exhibition of various toilet models opposite the ashram. I inquired about the reason and learned that politicians and media representatives visit the ashram almost daily to receive blessings and to learn more about social projects. This project involved installing toilets in rural areas to improve sanitary conditions for many people. At that time, more than 90 million toilets had already been installed. In order to attain and maintain mental and spiritual purity, Pujya Swamiji and Sattvici and several Pandits performed a yagya every morning in the ashram, a ritual fire sacrifice in which spiritual chants and mantras were recited to symbolize an offering, humility and devotion to God. They also chanted the Mrityunjaya mantra, the great mantra that conquers death, an aspect of Shiva, and ended each mantra with Svaha, Sanskrit word for so be it, or for blessings. And every evening, Pujya Swamiji and Sattvici celebrated an arti, a fire ceremony, with hundreds of happy and devoted pilgrims. In this way, light was offered to God and His manifestations in the form of rivers, Ganges, Yamuna, and the mystical river Saraswati, through numerous oil lamps, which shone even brighter and more festively in the twilight. However, participation in the Kumbh Mela itself is the most important purification for a pilgrim, which involves setting out on the journey, walking, and taking a ritual bath in the Ganges and Yamuna rivers, which are sacred to all Hindus. According to Hindu belief, this can free a person from his karma in this lifetime. Believing in this and hoping for the liberation of their souls, countless devout people streamed here every day to make sacrifices, to dive with the whole body into the water and attain spiritual purity and liberation from karmic bonds. You are what you had thought, and you will be what you think from now on. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 241 we can read, the clarity of sattvic influences in the mind and awareness contributes to serenity, cheerfulness, purposefulness, mastery of the senses, improved powers of concentration, and receptivity to self-realization. From the commentary of Roy Jean Davis about SAUCHA. We are more receptive to the supportive influences of the elevating attribute of nature when we think, live, and act in ways which allow it to be supportive and illuminating. Doing what contributes to overall well-being and spiritual growth is beneficial. Thoughts, feelings, behaviors, foods, personal and social relationships, and environmental circumstances that are not life-enhancing and that interfere with spiritual growth should be avoided. Life expresses as a continuum. The phenomenal world and its manifested expressions are not an illusion, Maya, but are subject to constant change and permanent transformation. Our perceptions of them are illusions and even delusions, because reality is constantly changing. Nothing in the manifest world is permanent or lasting. There is only the here and now. The gunas, the constituent attributes of cosmic consciousness, permeate and regulate all of creation. These are sattva, uplifting, bright, radiant, and pure; rajas, energetic, moving, and transformative; and tamas, heavy, sluggish, and dark. Sattva and tamas are opposing poles that attract each other. Rajas is a quality and form of energy that can be consciously used to set a direction and bring about change. When we look at ourselves, others, or the environment objectively, without any form of judging, categorizing, focusing on the usual details, evaluating, or even condemning, without our conditioned filters, simply as it actually is, we can easily recognize which of the three gunas are predominant and have a determining influence on the respective manifestation. Every manifested form in the phenomenal world is a mirror of a prevailing state of consciousness. For example, when someone enters a room and radiates friendliness, openness, clarity and health, and you feel attracted, cheered up, lighter, emotionally calm and peaceful, then you sense the effects of a sattvic state of consciousness that is being expressed through this person. The same applies to a room, building or place that is clean, tidy, uncluttered and flooded with light, where you feel refreshed and can breathe freely, where all objects have been carefully selected and form a harmonious whole. A place where you feel a calming and uplifting effect, where you immediately feel comfortable and secure. Then you sense the effects, defining attributes and characteristics of a sattvic environment that manifest themselves here. Or when a person enters a room and appears stressed, nervous, irritable, dirty, depressed, sad, confused, ill or absent. When a room or place looks like a garbage dump, is filthy and polluted, has been carelessly cluttered with worthless things, where nothing has a meaning, where there is no cleanliness, purity or life, and where nothing flows, then these effects are characteristic attributes and features of rajas or tamas. All manifestations reflect a certain state of consciousness. Here is an insightful exercise. Take your time to think about important areas of your life. Look at them objectively without justifying or judging yourself. If you want, make notes about things such as your health, diet, sleep, relationships, work, feelings and thoughts, stress, daily routine, leisure time, finances, or what is currently on your mind. Next step, if you were to assign characteristics of the gunas to these individual areas to describe them. For example, for sattva, uplifting, bright, radiant, pure; for rajas, energetic, dynamic and transformative; or for tamas, heavy, sluggish and dark. What would be the result? And next step, what will you do? Remember that you can consciously choose, cultivate and promote sattvic influences in your life. The good news is that human beings are by no means helpless victims of the prevailing influences of the gunas. The tendency and intensity towards sattvic, rajasic or tamasic qualities is neither an inherited fixed condition, nor is it embedded in our DNA, and their effects on our lives are not inevitable. Through objective observation, conscious decisions, and consistent cultivation, one can consciously contribute to clarification, purification, and realignment, and create the conditions for a sattvic environment. To a great extent, we can determine our thoughts, words, and actions, and we do. A sattvic environment has an effect like a nutrient solution on our life. It has a purifying, uplifting, invigorating, and health-promoting effect, and attracts the supportive and uplifting influences of nature. It is important to cultivate holistically, taking into account all areas of life. That means the body, the external environment, relationships, the mind, and emotions. Until complete liberation of consciousness is achieved, attentive cultivation and the realization of the ideal of purity in all areas are of particular importance. The main purpose and goal of the constructive practices of the first Niyama, SAUCHA, is to contribute to overall health in all areas of life through the constant cultivation of purity and cleanliness of the body, environment, and mind, and to create a sattvic environment that enables an uplifting and transformative effect and allows the supportive influences of nature to be influential. Ask, what is mental purity? Is it an ideal or a goal? How can one determine whether mental purity has been achieved and prevails? The purity of air, food, water, or thoughts describes a state in which there is an absence of impurities, pollutions, or toxic substances. In connection with SAUCHA, mental purity in mind and awareness therefore means the complete absence of rajasic or tamasic influences in the mind and the absolute predominance of sattvic, uplifting, enlightening, and pure thoughts. Mental purity, therefore, means pure truth, pure essence, pure being, pure thoughts, without past or future, only in the here and now. Mental purity cannot be achieved by looking away, by turning away from aggression, wildness, destruction, suffering or pain, or simply ignoring these states, because in doing so we judge, take a stand, and promote duality. Everything is influenced by the gunas and karma and is an expression of divine creation, ever new and in constant change. Mental purity does not arise from fasting, purification, or vows of renunciation, from closing one's eyes to worldly events, so as not to defile them, from gullible listening and following to supposed savors, from superficially visiting churches or holy sites as a tourist, not from worshipping man-made representations of God or relics as the highest reality, because all this promotes duality and only binds the spirit more strongly instead of liberating it. In the autobiography of a yogi, we can read about a conversation what Babaji to Sri Yukteswar at the Kumbh Mela had. Child, for the faults of the many, judge not the whole. Everything on earth is of mixed character, like a mingling of sand and sugar. Be like the wise ant that seizes only the sugar and leaves the sand untouched. So many sadhus here still wander in delusion, yet the Mela is blessed by a few men of God realization. Mental purity arises through dispassionate, expectation-free and unresponsive observation of illusory changes and events in the phenomenal world, as well as of thoughts and emotions as they arise, by viewing them with equanimity, without evaluating, judging, or suppressing them, by letting go and observing changes and dissolutions dispassionately. In relation to the process of purification and the state of mental purity, the mythological significance of a swan, Hansa, in the title of Paramahansa, is interesting. According to the mythology, a swan is said to be able to extract milk from water. In this way, a Paramahansa is able to partake of the divine essence from the realm of matter. Mental purity prevails when the mind and thought processes have become sattvic, uplifting, bright, invigorating, and pure, when all thoughts and emotions have become to rest and become passive, and when attentive awareness is completely in the here and now. Mental purity in meditation prevails when the mind is open, receptive, and conscious, when attention is withdrawn from all the senses and flows inward and upward, when an uninterrupted stream of attention is directed toward an ideal, Om, merges with it and becomes one with it, when perfect awareness and bliss prevails. Roy Jean Davis described Om as the purest meditation mantra, since all phenomena in nature arise from this sound current. When pronounced or chanted as Aum, A stands for Brahma, the Creator, U stands for Vishnu, the Preserver, and M stands for Shiva, the Destroyer and Transformer. Creation, preservation, and transformation determine this eternal process of creation, which is expressed in the sound frequency of Om, the purest mantra for meditation and contemplation. The highest form of mental purity is achieved when inner emptiness, complete clarity, and undivided awareness, without any object of observation or contemplation, prevail, samadhi, and are maintained. Your world is what you have thought about it, and your world will be what you think about it from now on. Use this technique of creative imagination to cultivate and realize the attitudes and behaviors of SAUCHA. Knowing that you are a spiritual being, superior to your mind and to mundane circumstances, do the following. Meditate at the beginning alone in a quiet place. Sit upright on a chair, close your eyes and relax. Breathe 3 times deeply in and out. Concentrate on the area between the eyebrows and watch your breath. Don't try to control it. Just observe your breath. Feel the cool air while inhaling and the warm air when exhaling. If you like, you can use a mantra. When your mind is calm and your awareness is clear, vividly imagine that you are SAUCHA. Your physical and environmental cleanliness and mental purity. There is no need to use willpower. Remember Patanjali's Yoga Sutra about SAUCHA. Purity contributes to good health and avoidance of disease. Clearly see yourself as this person who is fully established in SAUCHA, in outer cleanliness and inner purity, and feel it at the deepest level of your being. Imagine and feel how you as this person will think. How do you speak? And how will you act? The feeling that you have should be of acceptance and gratitude rather than an emotion. Rest for a while in that awareness and feeling of accomplishment of SAUCHA. Now, bring your awareness back to your body and your circumstances. Take your time. And open your eyes very, very slowly. Maintain your clear awareness and feeling of accomplishment of SAUCHA after your practice session. Oh.